Now the thing is like you're doing something that's on the internet forever and it just doesn't go away. So you cannot say, oh, it's like being a hoe. Like it goes on your record forever. Like you cannot just wash away that.
What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Please follow my Instagram at Russo Lifts, just in case something happens to this YouTube channel. You can follow, message, and you can watch my daily story content on Instagram. I'll see you there.
Let's just go right into it, like where Candid Russo sucks. Okay. Yeah.
So so basically you backed yourself into a corner where you gave the public a perception that you're this, a lab rat of EA, of Anthony, that you've done all these fucking cycles and drugs, you look like shit and whatnot. When in reality, like you've done barely anything. If you look at a consistency, you've done experiments that you quite often went back and forth and changed quite often. So we're not talking about a time frame where you went from point A to Z within, just with a linear drug abuse.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing is that you drove yourself into this corner, and I saw it, and I mean, I don't know, I don't recall whether I talked with you about it, but I kind of thought that you're somewhat for this because 2017 I got super shredded and all that, and I started making a name out of myself. I did a few interviews, a few videos with Tony, got sponsored by EA, so you were quite big at that time. You started way before me, but when I started seeing the whole basically bullshit around the whole movement and how it went from being a pioneer of human evolution to being a drug abuser and just not consistent with anything, I literally stopped talking about the SARMs. I backed off of my sponsorship, and while you actually continued riding that wave, you did the whole mass blast thing and whatever. So now I basically had my doubts about you during that time frame because I had no idea why the fuck you were doing that to yourself. Because I knew, because I talked with you behind the scenes, what you actually think, like what you've done, what are your your approaches, and I'm like, I just did not understand that. I was like, do they have something on you that's that they're holding you by your balls with? Are you? I mean, are you an adopted son of them, or I was like, what the fuck do they have in this kid? That warrants him painting this stupid picture and getting all these haters that are like, oh, you look like shit, you're on mend, like when you're like 3 weeks on mend, and then you have your gyno surgery and you stop, and they just basically take that and put a painting of you as
it shows you, like, Alec, it showed you how like how you say time and time again, like it doesn't matter how you used to look or used to be perceived on the internet. It's about like how you're constantly, and even though like you said, like I fucked myself, I had to go through that time. Like,
right.
I agree.
I just don't get it. Like, for example, if something is off, if something deviates from the fundamentals, I'll just say bye. I don't like, even though if I'm saying, because I was sponsored by another company prior, and then when the donor started posting things like his Gucci fucking sunglasses, he put silicones in his wife, face and boobs, and he was bragging about all his money. And people were like, where's my order? And like when it started, backtracking and deviating from the path that the company had, I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And I actually, I lost quite a bit of money from the sponsorship because they were also giving me growth hormone, SARMs, whatever. And, I just blocked them. So, and I went like a couple of months before, being with EA, that I didn't have a sponsorship. I was out of the U.S. market, and I'm from fucking Macedonia. So I shot myself in the knee in order to prevent being shot in the head, basically. So, that's why I look at trends and predict, where will this end up. So people really go after instant gratification and milking the whole process and riding the wave until they can. But when you fuck up like that, then you're setting yourself up for a huge problem down the road. So that's basically how I look at
I'll
things.
I'll I'll explain my mindset, and like I
Hmm.
said, like we're at different ages now, so I have to
Right.
rewind and think of my mentality back then. But it was like, I was the poster boy of EA, right? Everyone else, like, I just wanted to be known as the guy who, documented every single little experiment.
Right.
And then, like, it became like, oh, you're the poster boy of EA. You don't look like the juiced up enhanced athlete. And
Hmm.
like, in my little peanut, 18, 19-year-old head, it was like, well, I want to do that later. Like, I feel like this SARMs information is important. No one made
Right.
this shit. And obviously, it was around the product catalog of EA at the time. When EA went down, when the SARM shit, the SARM gate happened, right? I was screwed in the sense of I lost my audience. Like, my original YouTube channel had the views of a 30,000, 40,000 sub channel. Despite
Hmm.
it, I think it went down around 13, 14,000. So I was completely psychotic to get my audience back. It was like I had a revelation of like I thought like I was so hard on myself. I thought I was like a complete failure, and that like at first I was like maybe I will walk away from YouTube for a while, but then like eventually it was like creeping up in the back of my mind like you won't be at peace. Like the hustler loses it all. You won't be at peace until you get it all back. And then the way I got it all back was not the way I should have. It was the way to do it in the quickest amount of time. And the reason why I did the mass blast was because Tony worked so hard to get politically connected to Generation Iron.
Right.
So I thought, oh wow, Tony is really, really pushing into the politics of the actual fitness industry. If he needs me to be the guinea pig and play along, if Generation Iron pushes the original enhanced athlete mentality, so be it. Was I sold when I got there and realized how this was all being completely portrayed? No. And on my original channel, I, backed off the claims that I gained that amount of muscle, and I obviously covered my tracks, but I was hoping, the truth transparency of it being so extreme would have been pushed in the mainstream as far as that documentary happened. It flopped. It flopped, and I took the fat L of partaking in that.
I have a question, or rather, series of questions. What made you think that Generation Iron is as an outlet was actually something that's worthwhile pursuing, and that was the thing that you needed,
Based on the fact that they've built other people's clout pretty rapidly.
such as?
So they, such as Callum, such as anyone who played in the original Generation Iron 2,
Hmm.
any of them, all of them got more reputation in the whole industry. Now, I'm not saying that our documentary was going to be at their level, but I didn't really see
Who else
any
was there?
gain other than. Here, let me go on their website.
Yeah, I'm quite interested.
I didn't see any real, I just got hate. I
Right,
got hate for being honest. I never claimed to be, you know, the juiced up. I didn't claim I was going to turn into a freak in 1 week. I just saw
right,
what happened. And yeah, I was painted like you said. I was backed in that corner for a while of like go back and look at the cycles I actually did. Am I supposed to look
right.
like a fucking freak show?
Mm.
No, but I could see how everyone would have that perception based on me risking it in that documentary. I'm
I
trying
want
to
to see.
find. But like Alec, if you're in my shoes, you're in my shoes, right?
Right,
Your income is reliant. You spent all your time in college building this audience, cultivating this
right,
audience. This audience cares about you to a point that when you get deleted, and you're thinking about quitting, you're thinking about walking away, your audience is writing you novel paragraphs, every month on how you should get back on the horse and get it all back. 19-year-old you, I feel like, would have the vengeance I had at that time. And that definitely skewed my partake back to the top.
Let me interject just a bit. Just a bit. So I'm looking at what you sent me. So we have Kai Green, Colin Van Moger, Rich Piana, Big Ramy. Big Ramy didn't make any more of a name for himself than whatever he had prior. Same thing with Kai Green, Rich Piana was all, and these people are all extremely. They're extremely eloquent. They have extremely exceptional physiques. Their character is what also made them, explode. And they had a decent amount of clout. You were a 19-year-old,
I think I was 20 something.
whatever.
20,
You were like
21
a
at the
20
time.
something bloated kid from whatever Texas or wherever you were
Pittsburgh, 412.
from Pittsburgh. Yeah. So like you go there, and I mean, even fundamentally, nothing made sense. The structure was off. Everything was off. You're surrounded with.
Is that under the inclination of my point? Because once again, here I'll play in my cards.
Mhm.
Tony, enhanced athlete, gave me the opportunity to garner the following at the speed I garnered. My following got
Right.
taken out. Tony gave me the opportunity, threw me the bone, in what his hopes were to help me get my following back faster.
Right.
I take that
that's-
bone whether it damages me or not. I take the risk. I'm a risk taker. I'm a trigger puller, and that's just the way I feel like there's people who take risk and don't take risk, and you
Yeah,
take
but
more
like-
calculated risks than I do. And I calculate it, and I'm like, look, this could go wrong, but fuck it, I'm young, I don't care. Boom.
Yeah, but that's
It
the
it
thing
failed.
now. Now the thing is like you're doing something that's on the internet forever and it just doesn't go away. So you cannot say, "Oh, it's like being a hoe. Like it goes on your record forever. Like you cannot just wash away that." Another thing is that if if you've built an empire, a business, or whatever under certain principles, fundamentals, and trajectory, and for whatever reason it gets taken away from you, if you try to get that back instantly in a different way, then you've lost your what got you there prior. So there will always be the bill that's gonna come and slap you in the face. It's like, for example, you have an amazing physique, and then you get hit by a car, and you stop lifting for I don't know 2 years. You've atrophied. Now you look average. And then in order to try to get back to your prime, you're slamming a bunch of drugs, and causing and inducing, let's say, acute kidney failure, for example. And you end up on dialysis, and you die within 4 years. So was that worth it? Rather than doing what worked and what is right, you took the risk. But I'm not against taking risks. I'm more so rather against changing your core belief system, because it's one thing to change it out of being naive, but it's way different and more how to say it. It's sadder when you do it deliberately. So it has a greater emphasis and a greater fuck you back because it's deliberate. And that's like committing a crime with having it pre-planned rather than acutely from anger or outbursts or whatever. So even in the court of law, you have occurrences that would be treated more lightly or harsher. So you'd get the harsher sentence, and you've actually got it. Having went through that route. So that's why I'm shitting on you. Well, I mean, this, but I thought it's interesting to just bring it up for the listeners that find themselves in similar situations. Because everything that we're talking about translates in real life to other
Right.
endeavors. It
Other
doesn't have to be,
opportunities.
your YouTube channel. It can be so many
Hmm.
other things. Because if you have the formula, it's just a matter of consistency and commitment. And
Yeah, and I was 20-year-old Russo was a fucking
right,
angry at the world, vengeance. I deserve. Why was this ripped away from me with no warning? I want
no,
it back.
right,
And
right,
there
right.
was no one around me.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
true.
one. No family values around me. I was living on my own. My
Yeah,
girlfriend destroyed my personal life while my work life was ruined.
right,
All that dark energy was channeled into drive.
right,
So that I
right,
can't rewind time, you
right.
know? I was obviously going to be biting at whatever fucking opportunity. And there were some dark opportunities that were offered to me that I did deny, and I thought on them real hard.
Right.
And I'll talk on it
You
off
should.
camera to Alec with
Um,
some real bad characters.
I should.
Real bad characters in my ear. And man, I was that viciously and emotionally that bad of a spot, and every shark around me knew that. And every shark around me knew I was the golden boy at the time. They all knew I was a golden boy, and they knew I was hurting, and they knew no one was mentally there.
Exactly.
And it is what it is. That's why I'm hyper groomed the way I am at 25, because I
Exactly.
went through all that shit alone.
Exactly. But the thing is that, and I think it's even important to even talk about things on camera, not necessarily here, but maybe on the podcast channel, because a lot of people will find themselves in similar situations. We'll lose our businesses, our loved ones, our relationships. Like shit will happen, and how you handle it when everything's going downhill. It's
When it
one.
rains, it fucking
Oh,
pours.
that's always the case. It always pours, and
I learned that the hard way.
yeah, yeah, me too. But the reason why you're here is because you didn't, allow
I
it
didn't
to.
sit. I didn't sit in the storm forever. I
Yeah,
pushed through. But if I had a similar storm at this age, I
right.
would be much more stoic, much
Hmm.
more calm, calculated. I wouldn't be this little boy just angry, bipolaring every day. So, like nothing mattered other than getting all the shit I already had back. That was it.
You know
That's
what's
all I gave a shit about.
you know why how I look at things. It's a matter of like you whatever you do it for the process and the outcome, the fame, the money, and everything alongside. It's a byproduct of you being true to the process. When you start
And that
shifting,
was
when you
Well,
start
that was
shifting,
my mentality.
right,
Like back when I lost it all, and I thought I would never be in the spot I am talking to you right now, where I don't have to work for anyone. My audience has blessed me once again to create this content. Like I remember in the trenches, like these will be my most memorable work days. Like when I'm on the come up and no one else thinks I'm gonna come back. Like when I'm on the fucking come up alone, no one thinks I'm coming back. Like those were the days. And I still remember. I can viciously remember like my way to the gym. Like everyone thinks it's over, but it's not. And everyone in my ear was like, Ryan, you should just like retire, go into IT, you know, go do a normal job. And like Alec will play against like, yes, you should have done formal education and stuff. But like in my head, like I had enough IT knowledge, I can always get an IT job.
right,
Like it
true,
was like I only have so much time to build this empire while I'm young to launch. So the launch
true,
pad needs to be built. All the cards need to come aligned. And like you can't let people be in your ear like, oh, think about plan B. I'm one of those guys where, yeah, you can have a plan B when you start off, but there's one point where you cut off plan B. Your
true,
mind got to be on plan A all the time.
true.
And I was at that point where, like, I already made plan A work like an idiot by luck at 1920. Just sheer luck and hustling.